Just give me a brief of what we did last week, if you, anything you remember. A brief of what we did last week. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Doc. Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, sir. Sir, last week we started with the costs for quality, and we got to know that we should always try to spend more at the prevention side, so that at the top we can save some money. Thank you.
All right. Who else?
Good morning, Doc.
Yeah, good morning.
Please, I also remember we talking about quality management tools. Using much of the quality management tools more than that, in fact, give more explanation than writing a bunch of theories like that. So quality management tools like histogram, Ishikawa diagram, rank chart, and the rest.
Okay.
All right. Hi, Doc.
Yeah.
We also looked at process improvements. We looked at process control, and then also the process control improvement. We learned about the Japanese word for that, and that's Kaizen, which is the gradual and continuous improvement, which is generally a gradual continuous improvement over a period. Yes, with investment and participation from everyone involved or everyone in the organization. Yeah, that's one thing we did.
Yeah, who else? Yeah, who else?
Doc, we look at some of the ISO standards. That is ISO 9000. We talk about quality management system, the requirements, performance improvements, and I think fundamental and standards.
Okay. Master, make we talk. Oh.
Hello, Doc.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about process control, where you spoke about some of the tools. What stuck with me was you mentioned KISS, and you said keep it simple and stupid. And you said in our design, we should always make it very simple in our design rather than keeping it complicated, so that it can be easily usable and user-friendly, so that we can be able to achieve goals rather than complicating the entire process.
Okay. Who else? Who else?
So we also spoke of implementation of TQM. We spoke on integrity, the elements, the key elements that make TQM successful in an organization. And we spoke of integrity, ethics, trust, training, teamwork, recognition, leadership, and then trust. And aside that, we discussed the award schemes. That's the ISO, the award schemes given by ISO. And then we delved into the statements in which I think one of our colleagues gave, that's if we do things right, there's nothing to fix. And we got some questions out of that.
Good. Can we have one more lady? So. Hello. Hello.
So maybe we can call names.
So you want me to call names?
That's what I'm suggesting, so that it doesn't cause any delay, since no one is talking.
Okay, I'll talk. No, good morning.
Morning.
I remember we spoke, we discussed the phrase jack of all trades, master of none, and the class had a discussion on that. And then you also came up with jack of all trade, master of all. I did some reading on that, and I got to know that the phrase was actually referring to William Shakespeare, where he was walking around the theater doing directing, script writing, correcting, and it was actually a compliment. It wasn't meant to be something like an insult. And I read on Forbes where they make the argument that jack of all trades actually leads to self-discovery. It helps one to actually know what he or she is good at, and leads to a T-shaped skilled individual. By T-shaped skilled individual, they mean someone who is specialized in one field but have general knowledge on a lot of disciplines. Thank you.
I think that's a good one. Yeah, who else? So what we are actually going to do today.
Hello, Doc.
Yes.
Sorry, I think when you gave room for questions, I had wanted to ask a question, but I think I delayed. So I'm sorry if I'm not asking my question.
No, that's okay. Please do.
Okay, all right. So I was reading one of the recommended papers on the learning platform, and I saw that they said what the pitfalls to successful TQM companies must avoid. And they gave a number of points, but one of the points I don't understand. They said overdependence on computerized quality control. Can you please explain that? Because I thought the essence of quality control is to identify defects after we've put in quality assurance. And most of these companies nowadays are into mass production, and we can't have people do physical checks. And so most people will have to develop a system such that when there is a defect in the system automatically detects the defects. So how is overdependence of computerized system a pitfall to achieving TQM?
So to the extent that you are becoming more mechanistic, okay?
Yeah.
That's what they are saying. Now you remember Crosby was saying that he doesn't believe in statistical acceptable levels of quality. You remember? That was Crosby. Yeah. Now the import of this is really not the fact that he didn't say don't rely. He said over reliance, because at the end of the day, if your quality standard is what the system is telling you, but not what the customer has accepted, then it becomes an issue. So look at it from this perspective. Does that make sense?
Not really.
I'm saying that you have an acceptable standard, okay?
Yeah.
And then the system that is telling you that you have met the quality standard. But what is the customer saying?
Okay.
You understand? What is the customer saying? That is the import of the whole thing. Okay, now you put a system and you believe that what the customer has stated is what you have done. But is the customer confirming that that is what actually you have done? That is one. Okay. Now, also, there is something in here that was not too pronounced. Now, the idea of dependence of acceptable levels of quality by systems is also a threat to labor. Eunice, do you get it?
Yes.
It is a threat to labor. So, in as much as we are looking at that is the human face they are looking at. They are not saying that the system will not get quality levels to an acceptable standard. That's not, they say over-reliance.
Yeah.
The word is over-reliance. So I'll give you an example. In India, when you visit most of the malls, okay, you realize that maybe, let me use New Delhi, for instance. You realize that the system is automated. They have RFIDs and all that. But there's a security man at the entrance, at the exit of the gate, who, when the system has validated everything, you have paid and they checked everything, you know what the guy does? The guy will just look at, take your ticket and stamp it. Will not even check the items because it has been checked. All that they are doing is that they are saying that complement the human being, I mean the labor, integrate them into the system so that you will not unnecessarily create unemployment, okay, in the system. So that is the human face. Not to say that the human being will do proper validation than the system. That's not it. But the over-reliance can lead to labor issues and all that. So that is the understanding. And that is why somebody like Damon and Duran most times would say that, oh, Charlie, let's accept SCAR levels and let's do inspection. The idea of these guys with all these things is to make sure that you don't create too much unemployment. You get the whole thing. The idea in trying to achieve quality is also to be very careful that you don't depend on system to the extent that the human being will not be, needed. Go to the full-fledged automobile industry where they produce vehicles and other things, because now they are using AI and very serious automation. I mean, within a day, they can produce like 50 or 100 cars. If you're using a human being, maybe they could do 10. You get it? So they will go for using robot and all that. But there's a caveat to that. If you are not very careful, because these machines has to be operated by human beings. If you are not very careful, you'll get yourself into trouble. And I give you another example. Now, Europe is facing a serious issues of existential threat. I mean, aged, population, they are not giving birth. Now they have developed a system, an AI system that incubates over 40,000 people a year. Babies a year. So they take the fetus, they take the sperm, put it together, because people are not willing to do that. If we are looking at automation, then they shouldn't be thinking about that. But they are realizing that, Charlie, what is happening will go into extinction. And that is why they have all opened their borders and asking human resource to be moved to their countries. Can't they use robot? They can, but there's the bit of the human side that has to control everything. So in most of the writings of these quality gurus and this automation, they are very careful. And what I'm saying is at the very highest level, you understand, when it comes to system implementation. And I can tell you that that's the same threat I face in GPHA when the union met me and they realized that the system we are implementing was going to have the labor, okay? So yes, we want to do quality. And you'll be seeing these things in most of the quality manuals, in most of the guys who are implemented. Anytime you see it, and I'm telling you this at a very high level, that is not actually looking at the issue of the validation being done by human being more perfect by the system. It is actually the human face they are introducing.
Okay, so yeah, Doc, yeah, you've made sense, but a comeback question on that. If we are looking at lean and quality, lean is looking at improving the system. And so if, say, the example you gave about New Delhi, where security men are just standing there to stamp the receipts of customers, is that not considered as waste? Because all they do, they don't even check to see if your receipt tallies with what is in your bag. They are just there waiting and stamping, waiting and stamping.
That is a good point.
Yeah, if you look at it, they are not adding any value to.
They may not add value now, but when the system is down, when the system goes down, what happens? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When a system goes and shuts down. So all these things that we are talking about, this automation and all that, they know that if systems fail, okay, what do we do? If system fails, what do we do? Now, and let me also draw your attention to that. Lean is also a quality tool, right? Eunice? Yeah. Lean is a quality tool. But Lean works very well when the basic system is standardized. In other words, you have ISO 9001, 2015, the current one, being implemented, where all documents, all processes are documented. You get it? Yeah. But in Lean, we call it standardization, right? In Lean, we call that standard. And if you look at the Lean house, standardization is at the foundation level. It means that has to be laid. That quality standard has to be laid. You can decide to implement other quality, ISO 14,000 and whatever. Lean is saying that let's make sure that we have documented all the process and people speak what they say and they say what they speak. Let us do that. If we have that standardization, then it's easy to implement Lean. So Lean in itself cannot be implemented when there is no TQM, do you understand, implemented at the basic level. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. But as managers, keep this thing in mind, okay? I don't know where you're going to hear this. It's because of the question you asked. The question was a very deep question, and that's why I took to this. Any system implementer, okay, will tell you that if they're doing automation, and you get to know when we treat the issue of change, you get to know that that becomes a challenge when we are automating the system. But there's the human face you need to keep. Okay, if there's a human face you have to maintain, those ones might be not waste. Those ones might rather be non-value added activity. I want to put it that way. It doesn't add value, but it's not waste, because they have non-value added activity and then waste. The non-value added activity are most, grouped under compliance. Okay, group under validation, group under authentication, group under what do you call it? Confirmation, making sure that certain things are done well. And I give you another example. If you most of the shops in Europe where you don't have human beings, manless, shops where you go in and you buy something and all that, don't they have CCTV camera somewhere? Don't they have a security man looking at it? They do. What is the security man adding? Is he adding value in the process? But what is he doing? You get the whole thing. What is he doing? Yeah. Because they know that, as a matter of fact, they might have issues. Okay. And once those issues are there, they will need a human being to deal with it. And that is why they do those things. Okay. So that is very important. Am I saying that what has understood from this point is that there should be some form of manual checks to verify that the control measures are working? It could be that the automation system may be faulty, but it's not visible. Hence, it is showing working as usual, showing as working properly. Okay. So that's a good point. Yes, there is no 100% automated system. As far as I know, maybe there are new ones now, as far as I know, but the human factor cannot be discounted. And that is a fact. Now, if you look at sub-Saharan Africa, the current research is that they are going to have in 2050, they are going to have the youngest population. Now, what it means is that the Western world have seen that, so a number of companies are moving here. Why are they focused on human resource rather than the minerals, the gold, and all that? Because human resource is everything. You understand? It's a human that does everything. AI was based on the intelligence of human. Machine learning, deep learning, they were all based on that. It's a human mind that has been studied, okay, and have been used for that. So if the human is not there, nothing works. So much as we are looking at automation, we should have a human face to it, because they would have to do those validation and all that. The robots cannot do almost everything. So that is it. Do we have any more questions? Then let's zoom into the class for today. Any more questions? All right. So we're going to look at the third objective. In fact, we've done the fourth one. We've done the second, we've done the first. We're going to look at the third objective. We'll also look at probably briefly something as part of the fifth one. And then we'll draw the questions for today. Tomorrow, I may treat some issues about leadership, and then we take the whole day to look at questions and how to. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is a typical example of a 6Sigma model that has been implemented by a company. I mean, this presentation was done in Dubai. Companies that are on the explosion with 6Sigma, and how this really is able to bring that kind of breakthrough strategy for these companies. Now, I normally like, quizzing bring in some of these things. So giving examples, explain the term external, internal, appraisal, and preventive costs associated with quality costing. How would you apply these concepts as an aid to justify the quality improvement campaign in your company? These things, you see them. You see them. I like asking these types of questions because it keeps you, thinking. So it was one guy who did this presentation. The title was Walk Your Talk, Be Real. I don't know how you resonate with this. Walk your talk, be real. What does it mean? What does it mean? I think the ladies should be able to answer this thing very well. Can you answer this question? Be real, walk your talk.
So I think it's more of practice what you preach. That's what I think.
What can you relate it to? You know why I'm asking this question? I'm not just putting you on the spot, but please, all of us should note, in answering questions, if you make a point, give an example. Then you've nailed it. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
That's all about creative writing. That's all about it. That's the trick. So once you establish the concept, give example. And make sure the example is practical. That's why I'm asking that. What she said is correct, but give an example so that it aids in your own understanding. Can you cite any example? Anyone can cite any example.
Say.
Yes, Dillis.
Say. Yes, yeah. In giving the example, must it relate to maybe the topic that you are talking about, or it could just be a random example to prove?
No, but it should relate, because it should relate. So for instance, you are saying that walk your talk, all right? In other words, someone may say that if an organization is reaching 95% total quality management, that should be something that is part of the organization's core values. They should live it. You get it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So an organization saying that we are doing 95% or we are doing 6 Sigma, and then after production, we realized that measuring a Sigma level, we were producing something like maybe mineral water, and then realized that almost 50,000 out of 1 million items produced, our bottles produced, were defective. We are not walking our talk, are we? We are not.
Yes, sir.
Now that makes sense. We are not walking the talk. And he's saying that be real. For us, any example?
Doc, is it the ladies example or general example?
No, it could be anything, ladies or men example. If you want to go into marriage to his truth, that's also a good example. I just want us to get this. I want a point where we can just remember. Yes, those of you giving the background of what you did, we did. Somebody said.
What I think is walk your talk, like putting words into action. So say if an organization say that they are focused on putting customers first, they should make sure that they understand what the customer perceive as value, and they should be able to give that value to the customer. Again, they should be willing to accept the customer's criticisms and put those constructive criticisms into action. Then they should also be open to suggestions from the customer, because at the end of the day, you go like you are focused on achieving customer satisfaction. And so you shouldn't just be saying it, but then the customer should also, when someone else goes to ask the customer that what do you think of this organization, the customer should be able to give a good feedback to that potential customer that this company is actually focused on customer satisfaction. So that's how I understand it.
All right. All right. So walk your talk. Now, first Middle East 6 Sigma Forum, 6 Sigma, a strategy for achieving world-class performance, and that was done from 7th to 9th. I think this one was somewhere 2013 or 14. I got there 2015, and I saw this, and this guy is called Sunil, okay, is the business process improvement Union National Bank Abu Dhabi, right? And this is a bank, and he has his email address there. You can write to him. Now, he posits this presentation with this background and says that, I think I showed you this, that this world-class performance, quality TQM and 6 Sigma. So for every 300,000 letters delivered, there will be 3,000 misdeliveries when it's 99% quality. But for 6 Sigma, it's 1 misdelivery. For every week of TV broadcasting per channel, for 99% quality, we are having 1.68 hours of dead air, and 6 Sigma has 1.8 seconds of dead air. Out of every 500,000 computer restarts, for 99% quality, we will have 4,100 crashes, and then with 6 Sigma, we are having less than 2 crashes. What is he saying? He's saying that 6 Sigma, the word sigma is a standard deviation. In fact, that letter is a Greek word that represents standard deviation. What is standard deviation? Standard deviation represents the margin of what? Error from the mean. In other words, how distant the error is from the mean. So based on the teachings of Dr. Shewart and then also Deming and Duran, they came up with, I mean, they did so many things, and then Motorola somewhere in 1980 that consummated this and brought this strategy, but it was based on this plan, do, check, act that was initiated by Shewart, later confirmed and extended by Deming and Duran. And you could call it a process control. You could say 6 Sigma is a process control. You could say that it is a plan, do, check, act. So you see Shewart, I mean, model in there. You could also say that it's a common and a special causes Ishikawa diagram. If you remember the fishbone diagram, the cause effect diagram, and we have, it's an improvement that can be done project by project. This is what this guy Duran was talking about, but Crosby was saying that it is what? Process rather than what? Project, if you remember. And then it says it's a statistical tool. I mean, Crosby is against statistical levels of quality, but Duran and Deming believes in that. And that's why you see their names here. And it's a Hawthorne plan experience. That's also another model. But this one was developed by what? Bill Smith at Motorola in 1980. So 6 Sigma pretty well has not been around for too many years as compared to, I mean, TQM and all that. So what is Sigma? It's a degree of variation. So the Sigma is a letter in Greek, okay, in Greek letter. And I'm saying that it is standard deviation. Now, it's a degree of variation. It's a level of performance in terms of defect. It's a statistical measurement of process capability. There's something called CPK. Please, let's write it now. CPK. CPK is the CPK we use to measure our sigma level. CPK, I've just typed in there. So you read about it, CPK. And then it is a benchmark for comparison. So 6 Sigma is a benchmark for comparison. And also it's a process improvement methodology. It is a goal. It is a strategy for change. It is also a commitment to customers to achieve an acceptable level of conformance. I would want to ensure that by the time we finish with this, I mean, lecture, you will get that kind of enthusiasm to be a quality and a 6 Sigma person, that all that you will be looking out for is excellence. Okay. This Powell said that excellence is not an exception. Colin Powell. but it is a prevailing attitude. To be excellent is not an exception. It is a prevailing attitude. In other words, that it's the level that we should normally function. That when we excel, that is our level. So excellence is not supposed to be an exception. If you get an A, it's not supposed to be an exception. That is a prevailing attitude. And I like that quote. So a commitment to customers to achieve an acceptable level of what? Performance. Now, 6Sigma definition, the business definition says that it is a breakthrough strategy that significantly improves customer satisfaction and shareholder value by reducing variability in every aspect of the business. Take note, in every aspect of the business. Now, the key words, a breakthrough strategy. It means that 6Sigma is a strategy that disrupts. It's a kind of a disruptive one strategy. It comes in to kind of re-engineer the business process. But it says that the ultimate is to achieve two things: significantly improve customer satisfaction, significantly, and then shareholder value. Take note of that. Customer, shareholder value, right? Of course, if management employees are not satisfied, shareholders will not get their value. So it's a breakthrough strategy. Now, the technical definition which we shared the last time is that it's a statistical term signifying 3.4 defects per million opportunities. 3.4 defects per million opportunities. 1 million, a fly, and then the air crash that we'll have will be 3.4. 1 million ladies go to the to labor for delivery, and then you have 3.4 misdeliveries. At the bank, 1 million customers are served, and then the customers that will be dissatisfied will be 3.4. All right, so it goes on and on. 3.4 as in 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is 6Sigma, and that's why most companies prefer going for 6Sigma. So let's look at the Sigma level. What makes it 6? Now there's even 7 and 8 Sigma. The 3.4, they want to reduce it. They want to zero it. So we are saying that at the Sigma of 1 level, what it means is that for every 1 million products you produce, your defect is 690,000. Can you imagine? And for every 2 Sigma, your defect rate is 308. At that time, you have done improvement 2 times. So at your Sigma 1 should be your base when improvement have not been done. In fact, in some cases, it will not be 690. So for some people, it will be even 800. That is Sigma 1. No improvement is done. But at Sigma 2, you've done 2 times improvement. In other words, you have used the process capability, the CPK, to measure your Sigma level, and now you know that this is your Sigma level. And then because, you see, you can only improve something when you've been able to measure, and we'll come to that. Without measurement, there cannot be what? Improvement. Now, at Sigma 3, you have done 5 times improvement, so you're having 68,800. Sigma 4, you've done 11 times what? Improvement, because you have done, you are getting 6,210 defects per million opportunities. Sigma 5, significantly, 27 times improvement. Now you're getting 230. And if you look at the range, it's just amazing. And at Sigma 6, you've done 68 times improvement. And you are getting what? 3.4. So you can see that a company can even use 6Sigma as a 10-year-long or a 6-year-long strategy, that each year there are some level of improvement that we implement to make sure that we're able to get to the 6 Sigma. So we are going to use the experience of Bank of America, and I'm going to go through this very quick. So when they wanted to do 6 Sigma, the first thing they did, that they looked at the top level, the vision. So they set goals for the whole, experience. So what they did is that their goal was to become #1 in customer satisfaction. That was the goal. And then they also wanted to be the world's most admired company. And they also wanted to be the world's largest bank. So a whole Bank of America, not any other mere bank, decided to embark on 6 Sigma. They tell you that this is a serious business. Now, because they had a goal, they needed a strategy. So what was their strategy? They said that they wanted to develop business process excellence by applying voice of the customer to identify and engineer critical few business processes using 6 Sigma. Wow. That was their strategy. So immediately they created quality and productivity division. A department is set up right from the onset, because they meant, they meant business. So when they had done that, when they set up the quality and productivity division, what they did, okay, is that they started now training, and 6 Sigma involved huge sums of money in training. So they wanted results in 1 year and hired more than 225 master black belters, and then black belters from GE, Motorola, Ally Signal for rapid development. They hired from them and then developed 2 weeks green belt, training. Now in 6 Sigma, there are belts. It starts from the lowest to the highest. You move from, I think, white, you go to yellow, you go to green, you go to black, you go to master what? Black. And then when you reach the master black belter, that is your level where you say you are a kung fu, whatever. Okay, so that is it. So they introduced computer simulation of processes. They trained 3,766. That bank is very big. They are dotted across the globe. Green belters certified 1,230. Minimum value target for G Bank project was 250K. Right? They trained 305 black belts, certified 61. Minimum value was $1 million. They also trained 43 master black belters. That's all 117 in defined for 6 Sigma. We'll do that, okay? And 80% of executive team trained in green belts and 50% certified. Why are they training the executive team? Because it's an organization-wide strategy and all hands should be on deck. And that's why they are saying that be real, walk your talk. What was the results? Now they targeted to get their target their results in 1 year. It didn't happen, but it happened in the following year. So results in the first 2 years, they reduced ATM withdrawal losses by 29.7%. Straight up, this is significant. They reduced counterfeit losses in nationwide cash votes by 54%. Customer delight went up by what, 20%? They added 2.3 million customer household, 1.3 million fewer customer holds experience problems. Stock value went up 52%. The year 2002, Bank of America was named best bank in the US, Europe's Money's World most improved bank. Okay, that was the results. That was the results. So they put in a strategy, they put in the investments, they had results. And that's 6 Sigma for you. We didn't read anywhere here that they prayed or they went and fasted somewhere or they needed some supernatural, They were dealing with measurements. I have maintained this, saying that anything you cannot measure, you cannot improve. Do you agree with that position? I want us to have a discussion. Do you agree with that position? That anything you cannot measure, you cannot improve.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Neil Ante said, indeed, quality starts with leadership, and 6 Sigma is the way. So anything you cannot measure, you cannot improve. Let me ask you a question, probably a thought-provoking question. Can you measure the word love? Love. Can you measure love? Can you measure love?
Sir, it's relative. You can't, because it's relative.
That's not my question. I didn't say it is not relative. I only asked a simple question. Whether it's relative or not, can you measure love?
No, you can't.
You can't. But can you improve love? Can you improve love?
Doc, you can measure love.
Yeah,
I want to engage the first guy. Can you improve love? If you cannot measure,
Yes, you can. You can improve.
But
yes.
How can you improve when you don't measure?
Okay.
Doc.
Somehow.
Sorry. So it can be measured.
Okay, then it means it can be measured.
Yeah, Doc, I think the first thing you have to do is to put a measurement criteria to it. So once you have that criteria or benchmark, then periodically you can then measure love. If you meet a woman, you share your thoughts, what you believe in, you think you are aligned, and this is what you expect from each other. If that's what you call love, that is fine. Then it's
We're losing you. Who else?
Doc, in every love life, there is always an expectation. And if you are able to meet the expectation of each party, considering the love language, then you can say that all your strokes are tick, or you've been able to measure.
No lady has spoken on. Are you there?
So we are here. I agree with what
Is it a case that your husbands are around, so you don't want to make any mistake?
Oh no. So, yes, I believe that you can measure love. Like Nilanti said, once you understand what love means to the other person, then you know what actions you need to do to show your love. So then there are love languages, or what people expect from their partners. So once you know what your partner is expecting from you, then you can do that and then make them feel loved or improve on love.
Okay. Now, any comment on where we have reached with the experience of Bank of America? Any comment? Any comment?
Doc, in the experience you just looked at and shared, you can tell that the bank clearly set out what they want, having done maybe some need assessments. They were clear on the goals and how to get there, on the mission they have to, embark on. They were clear on the training plan or capacity building activity. And they also have an expectation that were clearly defined. They didn't lose sight of the fact that to achieve their targets, leaders must be involved, and they must ensure that the senior management must ensure that the implementation is fully achieved. So they did that. You can also clearly see that they were training people at a different level, what you call the green belt and the black belt and all. Inclusiveness is what they use in achieving their goal. And the results were clear. I mean, reduction in ATM withdrawals, withdrawal losses, and for banks, that is very significant. And then the counterfeit losses too, I mean, it's something central bank frowns on. So if that is achieved, excellent. To delight your customer, it means customer retention. That's what I took from it, sir.
Wow. Next person. Let's hear our thought on this.
So
Hello,
I
sir.
think they walked the talk. They made it real by setting a target and putting measures in place to achieve those targets. So they made it real.
Yeah.
Also, I think they put in the total quality management strategies, which involve the leadership style, involvement, and then factual approach, and then process approach, which the leaders were committed to what they wanted to do at each stage they were involved, and then they make sure that they get things done. So that is what I can say.
Gideon, just hold on. I just like what you have done. Okay. I like the bit where you went and picked the ISO 9000, you understand, the principles, and trying to relate it to what they have done. That's how you answer questions. In fact, in real life, that's how you solve, problems. Use models, you understand, establish models. It's going to help you. So I like the bit where you talk about the process approach, the factual approach to what decisions. That is just fantastic. So you keep it up. Okay. For me, when you write something like this, let me tell you one thing. I think I've not told you. When I'm marking your scripts, in fact, I write 100% at the top and start reading. So as they talk nonsense, then I reduce the mark. Because in my mind, the marks was supposed to be given to you. So I don't award marks, I reduce marks. You get the analogy. It looks weird, but you get it.
Yes. So we get it.
That is normal. I'll not award the marks. I'll give the 100% to you. I write 100, and I'll be reading. Because the marks is supposed to be given to you. So who else? Who wants to share? Who wants to share? I think someone came. Alan, do you want to say something?
All right, Doc.
Yeah.
So reading the article, I think it's very good. But there's one thing probably he didn't mention. The strategic team, the efforts that the team put together to derive the mission and the vision to say this is what we'll be able to do and how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And there's one question I wanted to ask. The vision was supposed to have been achieved within a year.
Yeah.
But the results are coming in the second year.
Yes.
Would you still say it's successful?
They are. They are. So you see, and they said they wanted to achieve that in a year.
Yeah.
They could not. We don't know what happened, but they did it in 2 years. And that's all about strategy, right? You set a vision to achieve. So when they have achieved this, what they would do is to do a review and see the variances. Okay. They did not tell us that in 1 year they wanted to reduce losses by 29.7 ATM losses. They didn't. We don't know about that. But what we do know that they wanted to, let's look at the goal. Probably they set some objectives. The goal was to be number one in customer satisfaction, world most admired bank and world largest bank. They could not hit, they wanted this resource in 1 year, but they did it in 2 years. But as Neil Ante said, to achieve withdrawal losses of 29.7% is huge. It's huge. Counterfeit losses by 54%. My goodness, that is about 50. Customer delight went up by 20%. Is huge. Added 2.3 million customer households, new customers joining.
So, Doc, beyond that, you mentioned measurement, right?
Yes.
Without no measurement, you cannot really improve the process. So I wanted to find out, the objective, did they say they were going to make like reduce?
I don't have that data. That's why I cannot answer the question. We don't have that data. We only have the results.
Hi, Doc.
Yes.
Yeah, hi, Doc. If I could come in here. When you go back on the slide, it says what wanted results in the first year. Maybe in the first year, they were looking to train and hire so that in the second year, they could achieve those aims. So maybe it was a 2-year plan with the first year being training.
Yeah.
That's what I understand by looking at it again.
Yeah, I mean, you can make assumptions because they didn't say this. That's all we have.
Okay.
Hello, Doc.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, what I want to say is that from what they've just put out, it looks like 6 Sigma is like not just an instantaneous thing. It's like a long-term commitment that the organization puts to play. So although they wanted a 1-year plan, they realized that if they put in their commitment and they stick to it, then the results will be achieved over a period of time. So if they had just given up within the 1 year, they wouldn't have achieved the results they attained the year after. And then they becoming the #1 bank in the world and getting the results that they wanted. So it's not really about how long it took them. Maybe we should look at it from the point like about how they were willing to stick to the commitments that they decided they made as an organization, and then putting in measures to see to it that the commitment that they've made, they are going to walk the talk, like Doc said.
All right. So let's see companies that have implemented 6 Sigma, right? So who is implementing 6 Sigma? At least 25% of Fortune 200. Fortune means top 200. Fortune 200 claim to have a serious 6 Sigma program. Michael Hammer said that. So 200 top companies in the world claim they have some sort of 6 Sigma program going on. Financial, you have Bank of America, GE Capital, Electronics, Ally Signal, Samsung. I mean, this out. I mean, old literature, maybe 2013, 2014. By now, I believe most companies have come on board. We have Chemical, DuPont, Dow Chemicals, Manufacturing, GE Plastics, Johnson & Johnson, Motorola, Nokia. Microsoft is there. Ford is also there. Airline is Singapore, Lufthansa, Bombardier, and then hundreds of others in Americas, Europe, and subcontinent implementing 6 Sigma. Now let's look at the annual savings. This will blow your mind. GE Electronic made a savings of 2.0 billion plus. Annual savings. Did you see that? JP Morgan Chase, 1.5 billion since inception in 1998. Motorola has made 16 billion since inception in 1980. $16 billion savings. Johnson & Johnson's 500 million, Honeywell 600 million. 6 Sigma saving as percentage of revenue vary from 1.2 to 4.5 for $30 million per year sales. Saving potential between 360,000 to 1.35 million. Investment, salary of in-house experts, training, process redesign. That's all you need. That's all you need. I need your comment on this. Sometimes when you keep quiet, it scares me.
Don't be scared. You're trying to understand and appreciate it. It's deep.
So let's talk. And probably you understand why I was telling you that the two subjects or three subjects that gave me that transformation. In fact, that also gave me total quality in terms of transforming my life was the mindset of 6 Sigma and mindset of lean and mindset of what? Business simulation. Of course, I added decision support system that led to business simulation. All right. So in my mind, anytime I'm doing something, I have in mind that I want to get it right. And buttressed with the philosophy of Crosby, it helps me to do things in a manner. And so most times when you meet a group of people or you're in a meeting with your colleagues and you talk, they think that you're coming from mass. You're not. They think that, no, this guy sounds so strange. It's not. It's not. So I need your comment on this. Would you want to implement 6 Sigma? Would you want to do this? Yes.
So looking from your table, I think Motorola is the biggest winner among all these companies.
They developed the concept anyway. So it's not a surprise.
Where are they now? Because in terms of this mobile issue, I don't think they are anywhere in the market now. They are not doing that well in the market.
No, Motorola are doing other things rather than what? Mobile phones, right? Hello?
Hello, yes, I'm hearing.
Read on them. They are not just doing mobile phones. Over the period, most companies have changed. I mean, they have diversified to other areas. All right? Samsung used not to produce phones. It was television. If you remember. All right? But today, Samsung is seriously into production of what? I mean, mobile phones. So companies reinvent, they change and all that. We are saying in terms of 6 Sigma, these are the savings that the company has made from the period of inception up to now. And a number of companies like Nestle Ghana, Nestle is doing, I think it's a global strategy they are implementing where we'll be visiting. And when you go, you would see that a whole department has been set up for 6 Sigma, and then training programs are underway. People are encouraged to join and all that. Now somebody is saying that Motorola is Lenovo now. My goodness. Is it not IBM instead? It's IBM, right? Or Motorola?
It's Motorola.
It's Motorola.
Yes,
okay,
please.
but Lenovo bought the IBM, their patents for their laptops and their because the laptop I'm using now is Lenovo, but it's IBM built. Johnny, are you there?
Yes, please. I'm here.
Yeah.
Lenovo also acquired the Motorola's mobile division.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, please. So the Motorola brand is now like models. So that's how they call them.
Okay. Any more views to share? I don't like that bit. Okay, Delis or Delis, your hand is up. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So 6 Sigma is basically supposed to help companies reduce errors and defects in their manufacturing process. But for a company like Johnson & Johnson, over the last few years, to my knowledge, over the last few years, they've from the market because it was discovered that their products contained cancer-causing chemicals. I think it was benzene or something, some carcinogens and something like that. And what I'm trying to reconcile right now is if they are on the list here that they are making annual savings from using 6 Sigma, I don't understand why they are also consistently recalling products from the market because there are problems with the product. I'm assuming that if you are implementing a system like this, you are not going to release defective products onto the market and then have to recall them again. So right now I'm trying to marry the two.
That is not true. That is not true. That if you are implementing 6 Sigma, you don't have to be recalling defects. Are you looking at on the screen?
Yes.
So this is the 6 Sigma implementation, standards. So for all you know, Johnson & Johnson is still around 3 Sigma. Did you get what I'm saying? Yes, you cannot start 6 Sigma and get to 6 Sigma immediately. And which is why Bank of America, even what they have achieved, maybe they are somewhere 4 Sigma or 5 Sigma. Do you get it? Do you get what I'm saying, Delis?
Yes.
Yes, sir, I do. Yeah.
I just want us to appreciate that. So let's not take 6 Sigma that when you start, you are there. No. It is a process. When they measure and I'm saying that some companies, it takes them like 10 years. And that's why the savings that Motorola has made is since 1980. Some companies are now, they are still at maybe 3 Sigma. And the defect is like 66,800. Some are still at 2 Sigma. But at 2 Sigma, they have made significant savings. Doesn't make sense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it does.
Okay. So let me restate my statement. So what you said initially was not, it's not that it's not true, was not accurate. That's how I should have put it. It's not accurate, right? The issue is, this is the chart that we use, in working out the 6 Sigma. So if you start and you do the improvement 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, there are still errors. Now, you know about Toyota, right? Toyota production system, Delis, you know them.
Yes, yes, sir.
Toyota is implementing lean. Do you know that Toyota realized when they started that they have 95%, listen on, non-value added activity in their process? It means that the profit they were making from the 5%, they thought they were making huge profit. There was a lot of non-value added activities. Toyota, for the past 2 decades, you know the number of recalls they've made. All right? The number of recalls, when you check online, you see. But they are still doing lean. They are still doing lean. So these strategies will not give you a full proof. And that is why I agree with Sewa. Sewa made a statement, and then we said that about, it's overly dependent on what? The system. And I explained that. So I don't know whether you get a point, Delis. Johnny?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So I went back to the definitions and I realized that you put the Six Sigma is a goal. So your explanation makes it makes sense. It's a goal to attain the minimum defect per million opportunities. So I wanted to ask, are there any companies who have achieved this? Because if some of them are at various levels, are there any ones that have realized this 3.4 defects per million?
Not anyone that, in fact, when they even get there, we wouldn't know. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but to the extent that, so for instance, the visits to Nestle Ghana, right, the thermal manufacturing plant will help us. And these are some of the questions that you ask them. That the first question is that, what is your Sigma level? Do you understand? Okay. That question is in fact, it's a multi-million-dollar question. What is your Sigma level? That is very important. And they will tell you that, okay, we are somewhere 4, we are working out to get to 5. How many years have you been doing that? I know they've been doing that for donkey years, maybe the past decade, right? And then where are you still? They say they are at 3 Sigma. Then it tells you that, Charlie, even at the 3 Sigma, these are the significant losses that they have. They have prevented over the period.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any more questions? So now let's go to the main deal. So there's the 6 Sigma process which Bank of America used, right? So 6 Sigma has 5 pages, and it comes with the word DMAC: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control, right? So at the define section, you identify and evaluate and select project. And if you look at Bank of America, that's what they did. Select project for improvement. They set goals at that stage and then form teams at the define stage. At the measure, there's data collection and the size of the selected problem or the challenge. You identify key customer requirements at the measurement level and then determine key product and process characteristics at that level. When you move to the analyze level, data is analyzed, you establish and confirm the vital few from the trivial many. Who said that? Vital few from the trivial many. Who said that? It's a popular saying, vital few from the trivial many. Who said that? So it's a vital few determinant of the performance, and then you validate the hypothesis. Who said that vital few from the trivial many? You can Google. Who said that? Hello?
Joseph Joan.
Joan.
Vital few from the trivial.
That's the 80-20 principle.
80-20 principle, but the 80-20 comes from who?
Pareto.
Pareto, Charlie. Who talked Pareto? My party writing name, Who talked Pareto?
Pareto principle is that
Jacob.
Jacob.
Akuche.
Okay, so vital few from the trivial many, very, very important. Let me see in the chat. Pareto. Clifford has said it. Okay, then improve. Improvement strategy, develop ideas to remove the root causes, design and carry out experiment, optimize the process, final solution. Let me ask a question. We'll be using the word optimize. When we say optimization, what do we mean? What do we mean? Let me ask this question. You know, traffic, you know this fact that, I mean, there's some word that you use, but you yourself, you know, they understand. Have you gotten yourself into that quagmire before?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, now they use the word. In fact, you explain it anytime they use it, but you yourself, you know, they understand. So sometimes it does, when they ask you about the question that I say to explain, then now you begin to use your hand like you are drawing some signage or something. You cannot explain. Let's look at the word optimization. It's a very big word, and we need it.
So optimization is to make the best or the most effective use of resources.
Okay. The most use of what? The resources.
Most use of effect. Okay, so to make the best or most effective use of resources.
Okay, that's optimization.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Who else?
Look, since you said fantastic, should I write something for myself?
The course rep himself, by the mere fact that he's a course rep, has 5 marks validated. And so when you want to go on a spray, just to also contest with your class members, then you are trying to be like some president we know. Boss. Be merciful.
Okay, yeah.
Hello, Doc.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to give an example.
Please do.
Yeah, this is George Cracker. You know, in the mining industry, you know, we have this thing we call Whittle. It is a software we use for optimization. And what it basically does is that it takes the resource model, and then we apply certain economic parameters, you know, to it. So it's able to define an optimal, you know, pit shell for you, which basically means that when you mine within that particular pit shell, you're able to make profit. So in relating it to the general definition for optimization, I would say that it's a kind of, you know, process improvement terminology, whereby you pick probably a data in its raw form and then transform it into a more productive, you know, use. So that is the little I have to say concerning optimization.
Who else? Do you remember when we were doing differentiation and integration? The engineering guys. Do you remember?
Yes, Doc.
Yes, sir.
A marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. Do you remember?
Yes, Doc.
You know that it is at that point that you optimize. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Hey, Doc. Okay, that is the point that so when I see people using the word optimization, I kind of, do they really, and so for some, they think that when you optimize, and I'm talking about the word in its technical sense, not in its, I mean, sense of applying it, using it in in some a speech or something. But actual yes, actual optimization, we are saying that marginal cost is equal to marginal level revenue. At that point, we are not making any losses. Do you understand? We are not making losses. And for those who said that we are utilizing the resources well to the extent that, so any additional revenue that we get, I mean, we are good to go. But at that level, we have made sure that it is nearly impossible to make losses. And most businesses in the first 5 years should be at that optimization level. Okay. When you hit that level very well, now you want to progress, then you don't have any problem. So please take note of that. Right? So when you do the differentiation, you will then, I mean, get your marginal revenue. You equate your marginal revenue to your marginal what, or marginal cost to the marginal what revenue. And for those of you who understand, fine. I mean, some of you might have forgotten, but I did this in my Nigeria accounts in level 300 at the university. Okay, first degree. Right, managerial accounts, where we're doing Lagrangian and all that. So these principles, I try to apply them. Realize that it's the same thing we are repeating. I mean, in most of the things that we are doing. Okay, multiple regression. We're doing equation of a line, isn't it? You remember equation of a line? This one we did it at P5. Are we here?
Yeah, together.
Nilante, do you remember
your application of knowledge?
Do you remember Nilante?
Yes, sir.
Equation of a line. You forgot?
No, I forgot it.
Oh, you shouldn't though.
We do.
No, see.
Y equals mx plus.
Oh, very good, Charlie. Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? Charlie, make I give the guy marks.
The whole class. Tell me that we know they get the marks somewhere.
The whole class.
Doc, what did he say the formula was?
He's wrong.
He's even wrong.
No,
because he's wrong.
Oh, why is it wrong?
It's ax plus by.
By is equal to the integer.
Oh,
See,
it's the same as this. So you can
rearrange the formula. It's the same thing.
You can use any letter to
represent. It's the same.
Okay, so you should define its letters.
See, have you seen it?
C.
Some MS,
yes.
some
MB. Okay, fine.
MS plus what? MS plus what? C. Okay.
MS plus C, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people also say Y equals A plus BX, right? It's the same thing. And let me explain. So Y is the dependent variable. Do you remember? M here is the slope or the gradient. In economics, we call it elasticity, right? In maths, we call the coefficient of X. That is Y, that is M, all right? And then C is the constant. Okay? Now watch this. When we were at P maybe Ganesio, they would have said that box plus 3 equals what? 5. Fine box. Do you remember? Let me get it.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
I'm drawing your attention to this. Okay? Find box. So what will be box?
It's 2.
2. Now, when we go to JSS, they replace box with X.
Yeah.
Are you getting where I'm taking you to? They change it to X. And then now find what?
X.
X. Do you get it? I don't have time. I would have shown you the equation of the line. In fact, the Y, the A, you understand, is the constant, right? And actually the intercept on the Y-axis, that line that cuts what? The Y-axis is constant. The B or the M is the slope or the gradient. So today we are using SPSS, we are doing project work, and we are using multiple regression. In other words, all that they have done is to introduce, additional what? X's. Okay, so the B, you have B2 and X2, right? And then they say something called what? Error 10. All right, introduce. That's what the equation has become, and this is what we use in prediction. And actually, if you watch what we were doing, the total cost and the total revenue and all, they were all these equations. Okay, so this can be, if you change the Y to be maybe revenue, that can be a revenue or function. If you change it to be cost, that can be a revenue and cost function. If you change it to anything, it can be a function of something. And then you can apply. So maybe we don't have to complicate. All the things that we are doing now are things that we have done. Okay? And it's the same thing. There are things that we have done, honestly. There's a chart here. Optimization is a process of making a system fully perfect. So Isaac Amwa Jimasi, Ike, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so you've given the other definition of optimization, but that's fine. Okay, so the last one is to control, establish standards to maintain process, design the controls, implement and monitor, evaluate financial impact of the project. So that's what 6 Sigma is all about. But look at this. So 6 Sigma, the background, how these things, they were able to go through this, okay? This is the background of the case study organization, where they say MS Alpha International manages outbound cargo from a distribution center to different stores, deliveries made on track, owned and hired, customers dissatisfied at different level schedules, leadership decision to deploy 6 Sigma, team of 1 black belt and 3 green belts, sponsor of the project is distribution manager. So they are doing it within the organization. Look at the define. They look at, they take a tool called CTQ, critical to quality. And then the CTQ, this is what they are looking at. The focus on customer generating annual revenue of what? USD. This is still at the define stage. Customer needs improve delivery performance, level 1 of critical to quality, timely delivery. And they use critical to quality to set the goals, to define, define what the goals and the objectives that they want to set. Okay. Now watch here. It said current process Sigma level was 2.4. Did you see that? Have you seen that?
Yes, Doc.
Or 175889 defect per million opportunities, DPFO. So they were able to measure their Sigma level when they were starting using the CPK. Please, this model is online. If you want to measure your Sigma level, they will ask you certain data. You put it in, you are there. It's an Excel function. So they had a goal statement, and they said their goal statement reduce number of deliveries by 50% by 31st December year 2002 to better meet customer requirements of timely delivery, defined as within plus or minus 1 hour of schedule delivery. And then what else did they want to do? They use, still as defined, they have performance standards, and they have the output units, output characteristics, projects, measurements, specification limits, lower certification limit, and upper specification limit, Who remembers this? You remember process control chart? The same thing, upper limits, because they want to control. Targets, they had the defects, they had a number of defects per million opportunities. So these were the performance standards. And see, if I were you, I get this slide, I'll take this template. Bingo, I'm gone. I can use it to implement any system. I can use this model and apply them anyhow I want it, right? And then they use the SPOC diagram. Check about it. It helps you to identify your supplier, your input, process steps, output, and customer. And then they use that to define the process. Still at the define stage. Now, when you were done, they came to what? The measurement. So this one, they combine the measurement and analyze. Driver distance identified as key factor influencing delivery standard. Driver selected for focus, potential root causes, and why driver influenced the time. We're looking at the size of the vehicle, the type of engine, type of tire. Remember that you can use the Ishikawa diagram, the fishbone diagram, to diagnose the problem, right? And let me show you something as a matter of emphasis. Just so how powerful some of the things we are doing are. Let me see if I can find one of the students that I'm supervised, I'm guiding, okay, for her PhD. Let me show you something that, so you see that some of these things are not just, so she's doing a study on building a logistical model for, service providers in Ghana. And I want to show you something. Okay, so these are the research questions, but when we get to the objectives, okay, the existing logistics. So let's go to the second one, this one. Identify the challenges in existing process and practice of logistics. Process. Watch here. Now, it says that the case study will also be helpful in the research of the application of the cause and effect model, Ishikawa diagram, which will be used to evaluate the root cause of the challenges within the logistics chain. Have you seen that diagram in force here? Somebody is using it to solve a problem. It's developing a tool. And then in addition, watch here, it said in addition, the value stream mapping tool, lean concepts, would also be used subsequently to evaluate the current state of the logistics network and propose a future state, okay? So that is done, right? That is done. I don't know whether you're appreciating what we are doing. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Doc, we do.
Hello, Doc, we do appreciate it.
I just wanted you to, let me see. Right? So, and the reason why I'm taking you to these places for you to see that these things are used, they exist, okay? So at the improve section, experiment, design, and conduct using track type and tie size findings. Larger ties took longer time at creation routes, and areas was crammed, and time lost in maneuvering. High incident of tie failures, since tight turns lead to stress and ties. That's increasing number of flat ties. Team modify planning of dispatch process by routing smaller tracks at more restrictive areas. All right, they're done. Control, test implementation, process sigma level from 2.43 or 17 something per million or to 3.94. Guys, have you seen it? Dillis,
Yes,
are you
please.
there? Dillis.
Yes, I am here.
Yeah,
Yes,
I know.
here.
I'm mentioning your name because of the question you asked. Okay.
Yes,
So are you appreciating it now? Okay.
Yes, I am.
So 3.94 or 735. Hey, I beg you, to Afrik, have you written Dillis' name?
For Max?
Yes.
Yeah, she's next to my name.
Okay, so then performance still fell short of best in class 4.3. You understand? You see, so they were looking at the best in class. They have Sigma level, and even this, Dillis, even the best in class, their Sigma level is 5.32. Have you seen it? They are not there yet. They are not there yet. Okay. So the best was 4.3. So the fact that someone said it's a goal, it's a destination we want to be, you understand, makes this thing more significant.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
It makes it more significant. And then we have process continually monitored and data on new cycle ties and all that. They have done that. So the key lesson learned, okay, here, that difficult in identifying the right project and defining the scope, difficult in applying statistical parameters to voice of the customer, trouble with setting up the right goals, measure inefficient data gathering. You get, these are the challenges. Lack of measurement, lack of speed in execution, analyze, challenge of identifying best practice, oversee, or overuse of what statistical tools, overuse. Here, that's what Crosby says, okay? Under the use of practical knowledge, challenge of what developing hypothesis, improve, challenge of developing ideas to remove root causes, difficult of implementing solutions, and control, lack of follow-ups by managers, process owners, lack of continuous voice of the customer, failure to institutionalize continuous what? Improvement. So these are the key lessons that has been what? Learned, okay? And what makes 6Sigma different? Because it's versatile. It's a breakthrough improvement, financial result focus, process focus, structured and disciplined problem solving methodology using scientific tools and techniques. Customer-centered involvement of leadership is mandatory, training is mandatory. Action learning. Action learning is a new methodology used. In fact, it's been in the US. I delivered a lecture on action that I think I put it on Facebook or so. Get 25% classroom, 75% for application, creating a dedicated organization for problem solving. The 85 and 50 rule, this Pareto rule being revised. So this kind of benefit of 6Sigma generates sustained success, set performance goals for everyone, enhances value for customers, accelerates rate of improvement, provide learning and across boundaries, and execute strategic what? Change. Okay, so this actually what it is. I don't know whether you have any questions to ask. Because this is heavy lifting, I'm going to take you through what we'll do tomorrow, the 2 slides, and the question, the Q&A section. I wanted to add something, but this is a heavy lifting. I want you to digest it, okay, so that we'll reconvene tomorrow. But let's have a few discussion on this. If you have any question to.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to relate it to when we used to have the GFA president, Ben Kofi, who had a 5-year development goal or plan about how to improve the football in the country in general. And I think he started with the under 12, under 14, under 16, and in that order. And those strategies or the implementation yielded the Sule-Muntari generation, where they did well. They didn't achieve, they didn't win any title at the senior level, but you could see an improvement, and then a succession plan where the DIU and the rest also followed. So with this 6 Sigma, I think it's a good tool or a model that can be applied in all areas of our life.
Is Ben Kofi around? Is he around?
I'm not really sure. I don't think he's still around.
He's one of the best. I mean, I think GFA forces that. It used to be Alaji Jaula, I think, who just passed on some few. Is it Alaji Jaula? There used to be one other guy, that fat man. What is the name?
But I think our problem is some of these ideas are not well communicated to the grassroots. So the top or the leadership might have the vision.
They are not documented.
They might have the vision. Yes.
They are not documented.
But it's not descended down. Yeah.
They are not documented.
Doc, please, I have a question.
Please go. Eunice.
So, Eunice,
okay. Yeah, Charlie, traffic, write Eunice's name.
Doc, I hear.
Write Eunice's name. I'm out to write a name. I'm out to talk plenty.
Doc, it's not easy. The girls are taking the list.
They are not. But the guys, you'd write plenty. Ni Lante, you write, I think one George also came in. And then there was also, Johnny. Johnny was also, and then Clifford. Clifford also. Jackson, even Jackson, yeah, Michael Jackson, yeah. Yeah, and
Jacob.
Jacob also made a point. But Jacob, you've not been talking, no? So we are recording the rate of the talking, right?
Yes, sir.
So add more.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, someone wanted to say something, yeah?
Yes. So my question is, looking at the companies that have benefited from 6 Sigma, you look at the likes of GE, you look at Motorola, Johnson & Johnson, all these are big companies. And so even their yearly turnarounds in terms of revenue are huge. So the amount of money they invest in achieving 6 Sigma will be little as compared to what they make in the year. So for a small company that doesn't have that much revenue, will it be advisable to invest in 6 Sigma?
No, you can, to a extent that GE, Bank of America, because they had a lot of outlets, okay, and the staff strength, they were huge. That's why they went in for that huge. You can, if the company is small, you might just need one master black belter for the training, because it's not a huge company. You get it. And then you are not mandated to train everybody as a green or the yellow belt. You look at the strategic areas. In fact, some of them, they give just orientation, because if their work doesn't really involve the process transformation, but those who are the key guys are trained, but they make sure that the vision is shared with every single person in the organization, that they live it. They are conscious about it, that we have a target to meet. And that should reflect in our SOPs, to reflect in our attitude, our culture, that we are the culture of work, okay, in that organization. And it should reflect everything we do. They should see this thing being demonstrated by top management, being practiced. They should see them living their talk, okay? That's all about the whole concept. So it's not about a huge investment. I can implement a 6 Sigma for an organization, but with that, I can tell you, I can do that. I mean, even the company is big, I can do that under maybe 200,000 Ghana cedi. You get it? Because it depends on the way, the approach you want to, look at. for some of the trainings that I do offer, which I mean, last year I did lean for one of the companies. I think I showed you a video about a company that is into production of dry fruits. Did I do that? Did I show it to you guys?
Not that I can remember.
No, sir. But I think you spoke about it briefly.
I want to just show you this. Yeah, I think it makes sense. And I'm doing this just to make you aware. So this company, can you see the screen now?
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc.
So this company
Yes, Doc.
I was teaching lean, right? So as part of my Gemba work was to put on my boots and then go through the process with my check sheet, okay, so that I can take some points, quick point. So I visited them, but look at me.
Just to ensure that there are no metals in there. And that is something we can term as poker yogi, right? Mistake was proven. Make sure.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what I said?
Yes, sir.
What did I say?
He said pokayoki.
So if I'm teaching students and they have not seen what is pokayoki, it's easy for the student to relate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
I entered there myself, and I've been visiting. I've visited CIMAF. I'm visiting companies, looking at their process. I tell them I'm a lecturer, but industrialist, because I want to bring this to the classroom. I want students to appreciate what is happening. You get it? So this was what we did.
Right? Mistake was proven. Make sure that they are not, before it gets out, they are not.
So I was just talking about something when this thing came. So what I'm saying is that for me, I think I believe that companies can initiate. So this company, they are doing some form of lean, right? In fact, they are doing 5S. 5S is one of the tools. If you go there, it's I mean, visibly written on their dashboard and all that. So we needed to look at the whole manufacturing setup and try to improve the process. And if you see some of the things these guys were doing, it will just blow your mind. Okay. So companies can do that. So currently, I teach something, I do some trainings on, first of all, if you say you want to implement lean, and the first thing I'll ask you to do is that let's talk about lean thinking, the soft skills. All right. That is to inculcate the mindset of lean into your departmental. So I'm doing one for CMF maybe in 2 weeks' time. And the guy in charge of logistics and transport, what's the name? One of my mates recommended that I come and do that. So I've gone through their system and then I've developed a flow chart, right? And that flow chart is what I'm going to use as the basis for, I mean, the training. I can show you the flow chart from CIMF. So you also appreciate some of these things. So I did this. So this is the flow chart. So I went through their system and developed this flow chart, right? So that's what, so I did a Gemba walkthrough, CIMF, value chain. So I went through that. It's a simple system. Potential challenges, lead time in reducing raw material, lead time in transporting raw materials through the conveyor station, lead time in processing raw materials to finished good, lead time in bagging finished good, lead time in loading trucks for delivery, lead time in delivering product to customers, delay in importing raw materials, clinker, limestone, including port custom process, and delay in procuring other raw materials or logistics. So this is what I did Total lead time is equal to value added time plus non-value added time plus waste. All right. So propose participant for training at least one senior staff or supervisors from the value chain process. So all these things were done. So I used this and presented it to them. Because when they asked me that they wanted the training, I said that, wait, you should give me, no, I said, I'm not interested in giving you, if I don't walk through your process, I'm not interested in the deal. You can take a different trainer. You understand? Because I cannot come there and then talk English without seeing what is happening. But most companies who agree and have gone through their process, it has really, really helped them. So my point is that any organization, you can start that with your department, okay? Maybe some of your training needs, okay? Lean thinking, 6 Sigma or total quality thinking, so that these things will be imbibed in them. So you will see these things reflect in their daily, working, procedures. You will see it. Then it's easy to move from there. If that soft skill is not imbibed in them, that is going to be a difference. Now, somebody's saying that what's the difference between Lean and 6 Sigma? Lean is more process focused. 6 Sigma is more output focused. Lean is for efficiency, 6 Sigma is for effectiveness. George, have I answered your question?
Yes, Doc. Thank you.
Any more questions?